Pierre to drop in the comments if they have time.
Oh, perfect. Well, hey guys, we're live. Welcome to You'll Probably Agree. Today, I haven't had you on in a long time. Sujewa Ekanayake.
Not since
Uh,
the last movie, which came out in early 2022, I think.
yeah, yeah. So it's been a while. But no, now you have a sequel to
hmm
that film.
hmm
The sequel to The Secret Society for Slow Romance 2, Cosmic
Now
Disco
you have a
Detective
sequel
Rene.
Hold
to
on.
that
I have an
film.
echo happening.
Sequel to
The
Oh,
music.
Romance. Now you have a sequel
Hold on.
to that
I have an
film.
echo happening.
Sequel to
The music. Okay, good. I got rid of the echo. You sound okay?
Now you have a
yeah.
sequel
Hold on. I have an echo happening.
I hear a little bit of an
I got rid
echo
of the echo.
still.
You sound okay?
Yeah.
Hold on. I have an echo happening. Is there another echo happening?
I hear a little bit of
Yeah, I can hear I
Let
can
me,
hear an echo
hold on.
still. Do you have headphones on?
Is there another echo happening?
I hear a little bit
Do you have the video open and another? Oh,
What's that?
I think that's good.
Good. I had another set of windows and the video open.
Oh, yeah, that's what I figured. I figured there was another video playing it, but as I was saying, the last
I'll hop over to the comments ever so often to see if anyone has to say anything.
right. Well, that's what they're there for.
Awesome.
But the last time I had you
And we have
on,
a snow monster.
oh, is that Christmas themed? Is that the snow monster from?
My girlfriend said maybe this will help the show. There's a snow monster.
Maybe he can give some input on the film.
That's right.
You never know. So last time I had you on, you did the Secret Society for Slow Romance. Now you have the Secret Society for Slow Romance 2, Cosmic Disco Detective Rene, and the Mystery of the Immortal Time Travelers. Now,
Correct.
I think that's a bit of a long title. It reminds me of another title
Which is
from a
what?
film. Doctor Strangelove and how I learned to learn to love the bomb.
or Uncle Bunmi who can recall his past lives.
Right, there you go. Right.
I just call the movie Cosmic Disco Detective Rene for short. In
Yeah.
Chicago, they at the facets at the marquee they left Rene out, and I didn't want to bug him too much about fixing that. But Cosmic Disco Detective is okay.
Yeah.
Cosmic Disco Detective Rene is ideal, and for written purposes, full title is Cosmic Disco Detective Rene: The Secret Society for Slow Romance 2. Actually, there's another part. The Mystery of Immortal Time Travelers.
Right. Yeah, I think I put them all together into one
Awesome.
eventually because I didn't. I was like, would it be rude if I emailed him and then asked him, "Hey, what's the title of your movie?" Because I know it says it. I know it says it like on the link, and I know it says it in the email, but it's still like three different titles put into one.
It's crazy. It's title craziness. I just went with it for fun. But Cosmic Disco Detective Rene is probably how it will be known. I'm also planning Cosmic Disco Detective Rene Part 2. Working title is NYC UFO Sex Cult. And it'll be like a monk episode meets a Star Trek episode. And it'll be much more things will happen in actual locations, not just people talking in a few locations. It'll be much more of a normal looking movie, and I think it'll be fun for a lot of people.
Interesting. I'm trying to imagine how the sex part works into the movie.
It's a sex cult. It's a UFO sex cult.
It's
So
a UFO sex cult. Okay. Now, do they know the time travelers as well?
no, entirely different, possibly even entirely different dimension, different Renee, different Allison. No, we'll leave the time travelers plot to the current movie.
Right. Now, do you create your own multiverse with your characters, or is
Yes.
this
Now we
okay?
have a multiverse. The first one was in a dimension that's very close to ours. The second one that you just saw, that one is a little bit different, a little bit different dimension. And so I think every one of the Renee movies will be in a different dimension. Makes it easier for me to write. I don't really have to worry about what happened in the previous one. I can just bring in whatever's needed for the new plot. And
Hmm.
and then I'll be making other movies also, not Rene movies. And also, some Rene movies may have other actors besides myself playing Rene, if needed, and
Right.
depending on the story, depending on the dimension. But
Yeah,
I'll probably play
exactly.
Rene on the next one.
Yeah, well, exactly. When you have a multiverse, you can kind of recast however you want to. So, Marvel can fix a few problems they're having now with that.
That's
But
great.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, what was your take on the movie? Did you enjoy it more
Yes,
than
I
the
did
last two
enjoy it.
movies of mine you've seen?
I enjoy it. I like how it's sort of like a slow meditation of a film. It's supposed to be slow cinema, and
Hmm.
it's supposed to, you're supposed to just kind of enjoy the time because the stakes in the movie are very high. You have these immortal time travelers
Hmm.
who, for all we know, for intents and purposes, could lead to a conflict that leads to nuclear war. But yet everyone's very laid back about it, and they're kind of like sitting in these small apartment buildings, although they're supposed to be having like these big scale discussions about these sort of things. But I kind of like how it plays like a very dry comedy, and
Hmm.
it's supposed to be just be seen sort of like in a smaller venue and stuff like that. It's not a big blockbuster. It does talk about big blockbusters and your thoughts on those, and that was great. But it's just a little bit of tidbit of different bits of information that I like, different scenes that play out that makes it an enjoyable viewing.
Awesome. Yeah, it could be seen anywhere. It could work in a big blockbuster theater. It was made to primarily be watched at movie theaters. But yeah, it's an art house, definitely an art house comedy. Um, yeah, it's a comedy. It's got multiple plots happening, multiple dimensions. It's got some fun stuff. The feedback from people who are into these kind of movies and who've seen my previous movies have mostly been positive. I think you've seen three of my movies now.
I might have. I think I might have at this point. It's
Yeah, you
funny,
saw this
man.
one.
Over the
You saw Werewolf, and then you saw
American Werewolf Ninja Philosopher. Yeah, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so it's been a while, but yeah, I enjoy the connected universe. I enjoy how every scene is literally like it's a testament to just making movies on your own. You can tell it's just like three cameras where it's just like you just hit
One camera.
roll. One camera. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just hit roll and then you record and you just have the conversation. It's not meant to try to distract the audience with constantly cutting to things and all that.
Hmm.
It's just supposed to draw you into what you guys are talking about. It's a lot like the Jim Jarmusch films that you like
Hmm.
so much and all that. It's movies that are just introducing that kind of slow aspect of filmmaking, which, we I'm seeing a little more of thanks to A24. There is All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt that makes your movies look like they're about race cars. I mean that movie was holy shit, that was slow, but it was good, but it wasn't great. Sometimes how a filmmaker thinks something is more important than it really is.
Hmm.
That's how I felt when I watched that movie. It.
And everything is not for everyone. Also, it takes getting used to. First time I watched a
Mhm.
Jarmusch movie, I fell asleep. But then I watched Mystery Train, and I really connected with that one. Then I went back and watched Stranger Than Paradise and the other movies. Then it all made more sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, slow cinema is not really meant to be enjoyed and like it's not easily consumable right away. It's not something you can just watch and then you're like, "Oh boy, that was a lot of fun. I can't wait to see that again."
No, I
Peop
like it. I like. To me, it's fun. I mean,
Oh yeah, you
no, no,
develop the taste is what I'm trying to
yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like over time you develop a taste for it. Like you said, you fell asleep during Jim Jarmusch's first
Stranger Than Paradise. Yeah,
yeah,
in
you
film
fell asleep
school.
during it the first time.
Yeah, in
Well,
film school, I was watching it. I was like, wow, this is boring. Went to sleep.
yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
later on, I caught Mystery Train, which is much more. It's colorful. It's got more stuff going on, and I was able to get into it more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the funny thing with film schools. Like when I went to film school, it's kind of like when you have to study all day and then you go to a class at like in the morning. I had classes like 8:30 in the morning. It's like, hey, watch this movie at 8:30 and let's try to break it down. It's like I was too tired to even pay attention to what they were giving me for my assignments at that point. It was
Hmm.
just exhausting. Film festivals are great, but they're not the best way to see movies all the time because you see so movies piled on top of each other.
Mhm.
You know, but but with this one, it's fun to kind of watch straight through.
Mhm.
It's kind of one of those movies where you could catch like a scene in the middle of it and you wouldn't miss much because it's more
You would, but I'm glad you were able to watch the whole thing all the way through.
well, well, I mean, it would be kind of detrimental of me if I didn't watch the movie all the way through and then
Right.
did an interview about it.
That
You know, that would
would
be
be
pretty
tough.
bad.
That would be
Yeah,
tough.
yeah,
No, because
exactly.
it takes place in multiple dimensions, which is not revealed at the end. It yeah, I think there's a lot in every shot that even the shots without dialogue that people can get something out of if they were to watch the entire thing all the way through in one sitting.
Yeah. Now, how is everyone in this movie in this universe so casual? Like when they're talking about nuclear war, they're like, "Yeah, we could all die." But anyways,
Well, that's just how they are.
right. Right. Now,
Maybe they don't freak out too much on the surface. Maybe they freak out internally.
well, I mean, they'd have to freak out somewhere. It would have to come out externally somewhere. I mean, you could
Well, I
all
mean,
die.
the Allison character seems more worried, and then the government agent seems more worried, and
Okay.
Rene is low key. That's just his character.
Yeah, nothing seems to phase him, even the threat of nuclear annihilation. Uh,
Yeah, he's on
so
the job. He's thinking about how to stop it.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly in his character. So how now you premiered this at Fastest in Chicago, I think
Mhm,
on
mhm.
November 29th.
Yeah,
Uh
Wednesday.
yeah, Wednesday. How was that?
Awesome. A bunch of people showed up. Well, I did an event where it was three movies called Indie Discovery LA in Chicago, using some of the movies I showed under Indie Discovery LA banner in LA. So we had Bristol Fashion from New York City filmmaker about a trans lady who lives on a boat. And and the director was there, Pierre Gillette, or Gillette, I'm not sure. Pierre Gillette, I think. I think Gillette is his last name. And then we had Only in Theaters, which is a great documentary. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I can send you a screener link.
Okay.
I mean, the title is low key, but there's a lot of epic stuff in the movie. It's about trying to save a art house chain in LA from shutting down, and
Hmm.
it's got some major people in it. Kenneth Turan, who's a film critic, Ava DuVernay, Cameron Crowe. Lots of people are in there talking about what the theater chain means to them, and it's a really well made movie by Raphael Sparge, who was in Exorcist. He's the new Exorcist.
Mm.
He's an actor and a award winning documentary filmmaker. He came out to Chicago. Pierre came out to Chicago. I went out there. We had a handful of people for each show, but everyone, and it was a Wednesday night. Everyone who was there had a great time, and the movies looked and sounded great at Facets. It's a great theater for filmmakers to play in. One of my favorites. And these live screenings, live events really help down the road with the VOD because we can take promo posts and articles connected to the live event and repost it with the link to the VOD saying, hey, if you missed it in Chicago, check it out here.
Hmm. No, that sounds like a great event. It sounds like, yeah, I know Ian Simmons from Kicking the Seat showed
Yes,
up. And
yes.
now, did he
Give your
do a
fellow
Q&A with
Chicago critics.
you?
What was that?
Did he do like a Q&A with you, or is he just there to hang out?
No, he came in and he introduced and did and moderated the Q&A for the Only in Theaters documentary.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So much of your time, or I'll get to this question later, but
Sure, anytime.
yeah, you guys do talk about the current state of film criticism, and then you talk about how colonialism has affected it. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, in America, every country sees itself through, you know, historical events that that have shaped it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Israel sees rest of the world and Palestine through its own unique historical lens, which to us may look, weird and perhaps even unreasonable. The U.S. sees itself primarily out of the the colonial slavery and post all of that stuff, post World War II lens, and but the rest of the world sees us much differently.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, some countries only know about America's war making abilities because they've been attacked so many times by America, right?
Yeah.
And so to them, it's not like this cool country out there out there over the oceans. It's with New York and Chicago, all this great stuff going on. To them, it's a country that bombs us from the air for various reasons, right? So. Uh, in the same way, the history, colonialism shaped the entire world. So countries that came out of it, countries that were aligned with it, countries that are tied to it, are seen a certain way by people who are outside of it, and even on the inside, uh, much of filmmaking in the U.S., indie and Hollywood, presented primarily white male filmmakers until like the 1980s, right? And that's like 80 some years into filmmaking in the US, right? The art form in the US is a little over 100 years old. So that situation became possible because of the special status white males held in the US from the beginning of the Republic, started by white males and primarily intended to benefit white male landowners. But over time, the country's like, well, this is a crazy idea. We need to bring more people in, make democracy available for more people, open up the country to other people so we can we can learn about other people and have those people here, have a diverse society, and which gives us an opening into trade, business, travel, military alliances with other countries. So I like the development. I like how it happened. A lot of the bad stuff happened before our time, and but the way Hollywood is now, and I mean, it's been changing since the 1980s. It's become much more diverse. But the indie scene, Hollywood, film critics mostly until even recently. I mean, even now, most film critics in the U.S. are white male film critics, and that is a benefit white male writers get from the history of the U.S. And this is true all over the world, right? In Sri Lanka, the most people in power are going to be Sinhala, which is the majority ethnic group that I'm from. And in China, it's going to be one ethnic group. In France, it's going to be certain type of white people. In the UK, it's going to be a certain type of white people. So this tribalism and privileged people is a universal human thing. But in America, that that has a negative effect on minority filmmakers, female filmmakers, minority film critics. Their work is not taken as seriously. Not as much money is put into, not as much attention is paid to it. But this is all relative, right? Indie film is a very liberal, and open, space. We have a lot of Asian cinema, other foreign cinema, and American cinema in it. Hollywood is becoming much more diverse. There's been a strong push over the last 10 years to diversify it. Partially, it's an economic thing because there's a lot of people who are to whom the movies are not relevant, and when they make a movie that's relevant, like Black Panther, makes crazy amounts of money. So if you want to stay in business, you have to go after every possible audience.
Yeah. Well, it's become it's funny. There are a lot of critics who look like me. I can't lie about that. But that is a result of the system and something.
History.
Yeah, and history and something that Sorry, folks, I'm white. No.
No problem. I'm just saying we're on the right path to diversify. I mean, every
Yeah.
individual should have the ability to practice the art form they want to practice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
White, non-white, whatever. These are all labels. Ultimately, it's just individuals who are trying to do stuff.
Now, I have seen a little bit more diversity put towards the filmmaking world. Like you even look at something like the Marvels that was done by an all-female team, female cast, female crew. And then, you see a lot of the Oscar nominees this year. You see a lot more films made by directors of color and, directors of who are not just all white males, but it's slowly getting to a more diversified state, but it's still a heavily, white, male-led centric.
Well, another aspect is more minorities have to invest in movies and produce movies.
Yeah.
If you have a story or a perspective or a way that you want to cast the movie that's different than what the majority community wants to does it or wants to do it, yeah, put your time and money into it. Make movies. I mean, it doesn't have to be one institution or one set of companies in Hollywood making movies. Thousand different outlets could be making and releasing movies. A lot
Yeah.
of movies are seen online now anyway, so some movies, a tiny bit of movies will go to the theaters. Everything else will be consumed by the target audience for those movies. I mean, yeah, there's movies like Hong Sang-soo, he's a South Korean director. A lot of people don't know about him, but I search on the web and look to see when his movies are playing, and I try to watch it online.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about the online market is that there's so much content. It's kind of like you don't have an excuse not to see so many different films from so many different types of filmmakers.
Mhm.
And it's grown because now I guess the counter to that is, well, yeah, but they're not as many are playing movies, but that's not true. I mean, I feel like A24 is saving cinema, in a lot of ways.
I mean, a
You
lot
know,
of movies are really good. People who say movies are not good anymore just are not watching
yeah.
enough movies or the right movies. I mean, American movies now, and world cinema is amazing. I mean, look at movies from the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Right
Mhm.
now, like everything looks sci-fi and amazing.
Yeah. Well, and now it's because the technology is there where basically anyone can make something that's of high production value.
Yeah,
You know,
but they put some work into it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can go out, you can get like a Black Magic Pocket Cinema 4K for like $1,000 and then just pay like an extra thousand to build up the body. And then boom, you all of a sudden have a professional film gear kit. You
Yeah, I
know,
shot my movie on a 2,500 or so dollar Sony camera XA50. I mean,
hmm
you can, but I've been making movies for a long time. So, did you like the cinematography in the movie of the city shots and stuff?
I did. I did. I liked how colorful they were. It was more
Right.
colorful than like a lot of your previous stuff.
Hmm.
There's the shot where everyone's, just kind of standing on the bridge looking out at the sea, which is real nice. And, you kind of captured the sunset there. So,
Awesome.
yeah, there was great, there's some good shots in there. Yeah, you stepped it up a bit, which is
Um,
pretty nice.
it's just a different kind of a movie. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one way to do movies.
No.
You could do it in a super low key way, or you could do it in a super hyped up Marvel kind of way. But an experienced filmmaker will be able to, do a movie as the script demands it.
Mhm.
Each style is like a different language. So, yeah, I mean, what I did on this movie, I could have done years ago. But
Mhm.
this is the right, this was the right idea script for multiple dimensions, a little bit of sci-fi effects. Whereas Werewolf Ninja Philosopher was black and white.
Yeah.
It was a noir story. Previous one, a slow romance, it was more like My Dinner with Andre. I wanted to keep it as less fancy as possible, but we had some nice shots of the city in that one also.
Right, right, right. So how do you end up developing your movies? Like where do you come up with the kernel of the ideas and put them to paper and then on screen?
I think, like most artists, every day I come up with ideas and I write them down. And then once the movie is done, then, a few weeks later, I start gathering ideas for the next one, the final ideas. So prior to No, once this movie was done, I was leaning towards making another Rene movie, but making it much more of a normal plot with events happening in at various various locations that are that are in a large number of locations. More of a regular movie, kind of like Pulp Fiction, and kind of like maybe Breakthrough Weekend, which is a movie that I did, my first movie, a detective comedy that I did in New York, and the characters went to a bunch of different places, and that was fun for some people to watch. Ian Simmons is a big fan of that movie, and
Mm.
so yeah, so I have lots of notes, and as soon as one movie is done, I try to jump on the next one because the longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes to make a new movie.
That is very true. I've kind of experienced some of that myself, where I've had projects that if you let them leave, if you let them linger on for a bit, they end up getting nowhere, and
It's tough.
you can.
Also, the fear of making work and fear of criticism, the fear of getting stuff out there stops a lot of people. There's a lot of people with time and money. I mean, I was talking to Pierre about this. He's got two kids and he has a full-time job, but he still makes movies. And
Mm.
I do a bunch of other things, and I still make movies. Um, People who make movies just go out and do it because the longer we wait, more afraid we'll get of criticism and just the how daunting the task is. So if you think too much about it, you can't do it.
Uh, we have actually a question from our comments here
Uh
that we
oh,
can check out. Yeah.
sure.
So from somewhat Cyclops says
Jamie Tom.
colonialism and its impacts on film was a thread of conversation in both the Secret Society movies so far. Will that be extended in the next installment?
All right, I'll say it's possible.
Oh,
Let's see when I finish the script.
yeah. And you're putting that in the comments,
Yeah,
but
posted. Yeah,
yeah.
this is good how live commenting works. I like it.
Yeah, I know. It's all made instantaneous these days. Any bit of
Mhm.
filmmaking is done. Anyone can be a live streamer now and get a ton of views, which is
Just good.
probably yeah. I don't know. I know when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, I'll just probably be live streaming it.
Which one is that?
Grand Theft Auto 6, it's a video game.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But
Grand Theft Auto, got it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but how do you see the current state of cinema? Do you think it's flourishing, or do you think it's somewhere in between, or
I think Hollywood is focusing mostly on really big budget movies and easy money like Marvel movies.
Mhm.
But elsewhere, most movies are being made independently and outside of the U.S. A lot of U.S. indie stuff is happening. Yeah, I think cinema is healthy. It's fine. It's just a lot of Hollywood. The classic Hollywood movies going to theaters is not. That's been disrupted from a couple of due to a couple of reasons. But a lot of people are making movies and they end up on VOD ultimately. So yeah, a lot of options now. Big
now
movies, little movies, movies from the past. It's great. It's a good time for to be a filmmaker and a good time to be a fan of the medium, to be a movie watcher.
yeah, it's a lot. It's almost too much to keep up with at certain times.
Mhm.
Um, so what is the mystery of the immortal time travelers? Who are they and what do they want? Do you have any questions on any answers to that?
That's in the movie. They towards the end of the movie, the Rene character comes up with ideas as to what's happening. So I'll let people watch the movie for that because that's the mystery. The mystery, the answer is in there.
Now, when was this movie filmed? Because I noticed a lot of people were wearing masks on the train and all that. Was that during the pandemic?
Some of the shots came from stuff filmed for the first Rene movie, but in New York there was a rule that you had to wear masks. Maybe in early 2022 it was in effect. So
Hmm.
some of that footage is from early 2022. As soon as as soon as Rene One Slow Romance was released, which was in early 2022, I started doing test shoots working on the script, the dialogue, and planning out the movie. And me and Aaliyah and possibly other actors. We're going to start doing that for the new movie also. Figure out a look and a way to present the story that's different from all the previous movies.
Right. Now, much of your time is just seen with Allison enjoying the scenery. It helps soak the audience into the film. What attracts you towards that more reserved, slower style?
It's a way to tell a story. I mean, I like slow cinema movies, and yeah, it's a way to tell a story.
Okay. What do you
But
think? It,
I know I may do something super fast, if the right story comes along. For comedy, for deadpan humor, um, that structure is pretty good.
absolutely. Hey, so what do you think could connect us more to each other in the universe? Because a lot of this movie is about people just trying to connect, I think, and I think that's what they're trying to do with the time travelers. Well,
Hmm.
what is the secret to that universality that we can find within each other?
People need to chill out, appreciate life, which is an amazing mystery with a lot of good in it, and they need to communicate. I tweeted recently, don't do film projects with people who, or screening projects or anything, distribution projects, criticism projects, with people who don't communicate well. People need to talk about what's on their minds, and they need to respond to things that are happening, ideas that you have. Yeah, communication is key. I was just thinking about I mean, everyone's focused on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict right now. Just looking at all the media and media about the media, that's things that are happening over there. The sides really, in many cases, have bizarre ideas about the other side. There's you know, and people from both sides have said this. People in Palestine are like, yeah, we didn't really know that aspect of Israel, and Israel is like, we didn't really know, we didn't pay attention to, how miserable regular people's lives are in Palestine, in Gaza. Then there's people in America who are like, yeah, the Israel and Hamas are the same thing. I'm like, well, no, it's Israel is a regular country, which is, under, it's subject to all kinds of regular legal, limits and regulations. All the other regular countries are limited by. Hamas is a, guerrilla group slash terrorist organization. They can do whatever they want. They don't have the same limits, so it's not the same thing. It's like saying, United States versus ISIS, right? I mean, it's two different kinds of entities. Not saying one is right or wrong, but yeah, you can treat a regular country with limits and a guerrilla group the same way.
Yeah,
So,
and
so
I
there's
think
a lot of people just not paying attention, and not they don't understand what's going on, and this also comes down to communication. Neither Israel nor Palestine or Hamas has really communicated really well why they're doing what they're doing, what mistakes they've made, what are they trying to accomplish. So it's all, super confusing.
yeah. Well, humanity, we always like to say, well, we got to learn how to get along with one another. And it's like, well, we have historically proven that we can't do that,
That's
and
fine.
that we're always at war with each other. So to all of a sudden just say, okay, we all got to chill out. We're never gonna get there. You know.
Well, I mean, much of humanity is at peace, more than 90%, because
Yeah,
we're
that's
like
true.
8 billion, 7 billion people, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, ultimately, a lot of people do chill out and get along because war is not sustainable long
Yeah.
term. I mean, you can't have war all the time.
And
It's
I think when you have just constant like coverage of it on television,
right,
it just escalates a lot of stereotypes and negativity that you're gonna get from people who don't know any better.
right, and we tend to lose a focus on human individuals, right? These
Hmm.
are humans getting bombed. humans getting massacred and terror attacks. This is not just political ideas on paper. It's just imagine you get butchered by someone, some guerrilla fighter, or your house gets bombed. This is real stuff. So
Yeah.
people who look at it and deal and engage with it also have to chill out and push everyone towards peace.
Yeah. I people always ask me, "What's your side on?" And I'm like, "I don't have a side,"
Well, yeah.
because
So
I
why
could,
why do you have to have a side, right?
yeah, like they're all people stuck in a horrible situation that I could find absolute. I can't even find imaginable from my privileged background, you know. And I mean, to be an American in a lot of ways can be a privilege. In other ways, it
Yes.
can be, not so great. But we are able to talk like what we're doing right now. We're able to talk about movies and watch movies and relax. Meanwhile, people's homes are getting destroyed.
Hmm.
And then we take that information in from the media and we go, well, I don't like the Israelis because they're doing this, or I don't like the Palestinians because they're doing this. It's like you have no clue what you're talking about because you're not even remotely connected to that situation, no matter what you read.
Right, right. Yeah, people need to chill out and push everyone towards peace.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. About indie filmmaking, I mean, that opens up all kinds of worlds to people, viewers, and also filmmakers. Like we're having this discussion, you got to, a filmmaker from a Sri Lankan background, and you might not know many Sri Lankans. So
hmm
that's that way. And I got to go to Chicago, hang out with people in Chicago. It's a different city. It's not New York. So filmmaking and other art brings people together.
yeah. What do you think of Chicago, like
I'm a big
compared?
fan. I'm a big fan. It's a
Yeah,
smaller place than New York, but it's
yeah,
manageable. I went to film school there briefly in the early '90s to Columbia College, and Facets is a great venue, and there's lots of other great venues, Music Box, Film Center, lots of other venues. Chicago could be they could be a home for something like South by Southwest, but for film, because
yeah.
there's good transportation, giant airport, good hotels, good movie theaters, and large number of people who are into movies, and a lot of film critics.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we got a little comment here. Hey, from Manchester, England.
Woo!
Hey, how's it going, Manchester? How you doing?
I'm gonna
Uh,
say
this is for both of
hello.
you. The tools to make films and videos are so accessible. What could be done to overcome the challenge of connecting media to the people who will love it? Ooh,
Okay,
I
let's take a look. This
you got
will tools to make film videos so accessible. What would be done to overcome the challenge of connecting media to the people?
well, first
Well,
off, you have to make a good movie. Good
well, you
looking,
promote more.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Filmmakers have to promote times 100 more than they do now.
That and your movie has to be good, whether it's funny, whether it's serious, because you
It
can
has to
lose
have
your.
it has to have something
It has to have a hook.
that someone might like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's no hook to it, no one's gonna see your movie. There's so many times where, someone's presenting a movie and it's the kind of movie where I'm going, well, I don't want to see this. This is boring. And it's not just because I'm not the audience, but because frankly, a lot of people's movies either look cheaply made or they're not well edited.
Hmm.
So you got to pay attention to all those production values of yours. Now this, uh, oh yeah. So create blog posts, do special events. Yeah. And here's the thing with an online society these days, you always have to be on. Like,
Hmm.
how often would you say, like, how many hours a day are you sharing on social media and promoting your film and all that?
Depend if there's an event like the Chicago event coming up, then I'm on there a lot. But usually, when I'm waiting for something at the store, laundromat, in between things I'm on, and also I do some of my day job work, media promotion work, fundraising on my computer. So I take a 5-10 minute break, jump on there. So probably a few hours a day if you add up all the hours
Yeah.
all the time that I spend on online. But yeah, I mean, as someone who makes and shows and distributes movies, yeah, I definitely have to be on the web a lot because that's the way I get my message out.
Yeah, yeah. And then do you, with all that work, do you get any sleep in?
I do. I can't. I'm no good without proper sleep.
Yeah, I understand that. So the film Secret Society of Slow Romance has some long shots of Aaliyah's bottom. What was the intention of that?
It was just a fun thing that we came up with. I think. I think while we were doing some still photos, and back in the early 2022 or so, I posted one up, and she posted in Facebook saying, "Oh, my butt's looking good on that one." So we worked that into the dialogue. It's just a funny thing to have in the movie.
Yeah. Now, do you like disco music, or is that just kind of a joke
Oh,
to
it's
put in the
fun.
movie?
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. Who doesn't like disco music?
Eh, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's fun if you're in a club, I guess. Then it works.
it's always fun, upbeat music. I like it.
Yeah. Did you ever hear the disco demolition massacre in Chicago that happened? It was during a Chicago White Sox game. And
Mm.
before the game started, they had a disco jockey come up and destroy disco records.
Oh
And
yeah,
then everyone rushed the field and then destroyed the place.
back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, that's kind of the scrutiny that disco is put under, but it
That
can
was
be
back
fun.
in the day. Now we're bringing disco back little by little.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. It works. So, how do you deal with the world of distractions when trying to be productive?
Well, film is requires so much work. If you want to get it done, you have to, set everything else aside and get it done. Otherwise, it'll never get done. So it's just training yourself to focus, having deadlines, and trying to meet them.
Yeah, and then what do you believe about filmmaking is so magical?
I mean, you get to go to other worlds, see other people's perspectives, and spend time with other people and stories that are not your own. And especially at a movie theater, you just get transported to another world. So it's a magical experience. So by magical, I mean it's a unusual and can be a very positive experience.
Right. And Allison had a great bit in the movie about why she loves New York City so much. You can go up to a complete stranger and have a conversation about something. And if you could deal with the rats and the rent, then you can deal with New York City. What about New York draws to you so much? I love the scenery that you do of New York, by the way, in the film.
Yeah, visually, it's a great looking city.
Yeah.
So that's item number one for a filmmaker or image maker. Being in a place that visually looks good is very much a plus.
Hmm.
And everything I need to make movies are here, and a lot of the things I need to show movies and promote movies are here. It's a nice place to live. Um, just on when was it? Saturday. Uh, Raphael showed his movie at a local theater called New Plaza Cinema uptown, Upper East Side. And me and my girlfriend, we took a trip. Took us about an hour to get there and watch the movie at the theater. The theater is inside a college. It's going through a transitional phase. And then afterwards, hung out with Raphael and got some food and took a trip back. It's like a mini vacation, and you can have all that in one city. And
Yeah. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No, I literally was just saying, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of New York I haven't explored yet. A lot of films and stories that can take place in New York that I haven't done yet. So yeah, it's a great place to live, great place to work. A little bit expensive, or can be, but you just have to watch your money and just be conservative about that. And yeah, the rats are not really a problem for most people. The city is doing a lot to fight it. Relatively a clean city for a place that has like something like 8 million people in it.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago, we get rats too. I remember I lived in this one place where my car was parked in the back of my apartment,
Hmm.
and I opened up my hood, and then just a bunch of rats came like running out of there. They chewed up my engine.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, yeah, you get rat problems too in Chicago.
Yeah,
But
no, I haven't had any pest problems, but some neighborhoods, it does happen. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've lived here for over 10 years now, maybe 13. Great,
mhm.
great city to live in. Never a dull moment. A lot happening, and a lot of people here who are trying to do things. A lot of people who need things done. Businesses and stuff. So that's good for day job work, and a lot of people to collaborate with. The other two filmmakers, Pierre Gillette, and Raphael's Barge, they're also from New York. The three, that I showed in Chicago.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of filmmakers, film institutions, independent, and also television and some Hollywood stuff here. So yeah, ideal city for me.
Yeah, it's a lot like it seems like a really big Chicago where you have
Yeah.
people who are in this creative community who just kind of like hit up with each other and get in tune with each other and kind of they I said each other twice now, Jesus Christ.
Okay, it's a huge Chicago. When I went to
Yeah.
my first few hours in Chicago on this trip, I was like, oh, it's like Brooklyn, but with far less people.
Yeah, yeah, it's like it's a little less people, but it's like you get sort of like your own little creative community going and your own group of people that you
Yeah,
can work.
New York is massive. You been here?
I was only there in 2000 and 2003.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it was weird. I was here, I was in New York a year before 9/11 happened, and
Mhm.
I was in the Twin Towers, like, taking footage
Wow.
from there. Yeah, and then 2001 happened, and I had that home video footage of me, like, up inside the tower, and I was like, "Holy shit. I
Yeah,
can't believe I have that."
that's material for a video essay.
I
Reflecting
did
on
do
the
one back in
awesome.
high school, and it was really good, and they lost the tape it was on, and,
Terrible.
yeah, it's like I still haven't forgiven them for that, you know?
And we might have. I'm trying to figure out where to play the movie next. Uh, we might have some UK screenings happening, and
Oh, well, we had our friend from Manchester chiming in earlier.
that's right.
Yeah, he did have a comment, which I don't know if this is real or not. I had an accident last week. I fell into my wife's used Knickers basket at first when I was drunk and passed out immediately. Okay. I don't think this is real.
Hmm. I don't know where is that one. Is that new?
Yeah. This is when we were inviting I know someone Cyclops. I know who that is. She's
Yeah, that's
been
Jamie Tall.
yeah,
I'm
like,
gonna say
she
the
chimed
word,
in, and then this guy chimed
the word.
in.
Uh, good luck.
Yeah. But no, if you go to the UK, that'd be great. So then you can go overseas and actually show your movie, and you can see how that audience takes it in. Because I'd be
And most
interested to
likely,
see.
most likely we'll do Q&A from here because it's
Yeah.
at a. We're looking at there's a nonprofit movie theater that's mostly run by volunteers, and the programmer there is interested in showing the movie. I don't know if they have the budget. All three movies from all four movies from Indie Discovery LA are being considered. We'll see how many movies they can show and when. I don't know if they have the budget to fly everyone out there, and it all depends on what people are doing also. But we can
Right.
definitely do Q&As over Zoom.
Yeah. Okay, so you could show the movie there, then just do a Q&A from where you are. It's funny, like, how much Zoom like, we ended up using Zoom on my show just as, like, a way to still have episodes, although we aren't meeting in person, but then it ended up becoming kind of like something people preferred
Hmm.
because it's just so commonly used now. But
Hmm.
it's amazing in the world of digital filmmaking. You have stuff like Vimeo that
Hmm.
really promotes people's work, and
Hmm.
all this other stuff like Vimeo, even YouTube. They're having like amazing video essays on there now. It's like the work's just endless that you can find it where you
So,
can find it.
any critics or programmers interested in Rene or the other fourth movie is Three Worlds by Amir Madla that I showed in LA that are part of Indie Discovery LA series. Anyone interested in showing our movies or talking about them, seeing them, they can get in touch with me on Twitter, and also wilddiner@gmail.com is my email.
Okay, so I gotta add this in the comments then. So
Sure.
then we actually have this in the description. So if you send me the links to all this, I'll make sure that this actually goes out to the audience to see it.
Got it. Send links. Make
Yeah.
me know.
But that would, but yeah, because you're always looking for places to promote your film, and there's always places to have it promoted, and that's kind of the ecosphere of the of the film world today.
Mhm,
Is that
mhm.
it's all over the place.
Oh,
So this is kind of a
especially the snow monster again. No, well, hello, snow monster.
so
Joining for a minute.
this kind of a gag question, but would you rate yourself as one of the happiest people in North America?
I would say I'm up there, probably in the top 30%. Let's say. How's that?
Okay, okay. And do you have a preferred indie run movie theater?
I think Facets it's a good one, and there's a lot in New York. I don't want to single out anyone and not promote the others, but we have IFC Anthology, we have Film Forum, we have Quad, we have Maisels. Yeah, we have Nighthawk in Brooklyn. We have a lot of great indie art house theaters in New York.
Now, do you think we're too pop culture obsessed in America and we could have a little bit of less Marvel movies?
I mean, it's something for people to do. I mean,
Yeah.
every country has to have something going on. I mean, pop culture could be one way that people nationwide try to connect with something or other people. Marvel movies, I think, it's a Hollywood product. When it stops making money, they'll move on to something else.
Yeah. Now, do you believe humans could ever coexist? Oh, we actually asked this before.
Yeah, I
So,
think so. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah, we asked this
We do
before.
for the most part, with some trouble spots happening every year. And humans are tribalistic and violent, but for the most part, we're not. For the most part, we're okay.
Yeah. For the most part, we get along.
Right.
So, how do you think aliens would visit us if they already haven't visited us?
What was the question? How do you think
How do you think aliens would visit us? How would it go about if they went ahead and visited us?
they would probably do a reconnaissance? Small team would probably come in and take a look, see what's going on,
Yeah.
see if it's safe, depending on their goals. If they're here to study us, they'll probably be low key about it. If they're here to take over the planet, then they'll probably go about it another way. But probably like any other type of exploration, probably a small team first.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was wondering that because you were wondering in the film what's going on with the time travelers and why are they visiting us, and that's kind
Mhm.
of where that came about. Because it's like it has that commentary of I think we did discover aliens or we discovered a UFO and the government released it, and it was around the time of COVID, and
Mhm.
everybody was just like, "We don't care. We're
Yeah,
tired."
we had more pressing existential problems.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's a big universe. It's entirely possible that we have aliens. Yeah, we go into it a little bit in Cosmic Disco Detective Rene movie, and in the next one we'll go into a lot. That's that. The next one's about aliens. And also, I want to take the time out to appreciate critics like Jamie Toth and you and Ian Simmons, who take out the time to watch indie movies, micro budget DIY movies, some underground movies, because the Hollywood machine pushes the Hollywood movies at the face of critics all the time. So, it's good to be able to find some critics who are into checking out the smaller projects.
And I wish I could see more smaller projects, especially during this time of the month, because we get the Oscar season, as they call it,
Hmm.
where you get about like 50 or 100 DVDs in the mail and like 100 movies being sent to you. And then they're like, okay, tell us if you want to see this for Best Picture of the Year.
That's
And
right.
you also got to review half of these. And then you have to go ahead and deal with that big truckload of work. So it's good to watch something that's not part of that work
Hmm.
and to actually kind of unwind and see something that's a little more fun than, the usual Anatomy of a Fall, which is a super heavy movie, you
Mhm.
know. And I think today I'm seeing Ferrari, which
All right, that looks fun. I'd like to see that. Yeah.
yeah,
For the future, I'm planning a screening that has a movie by Rick Schmidt. He's an indie filmmaker who's made 25 plus movies, and he wrote the book Feature Filmmaking at Used Car Prices, and very influential writer, filmmaker for a lot of indie filmmakers.
yeah.
That a movie by him. The title I'll announce later, and then plus Cosmic Disco Detective Rene, and plus any other movies from the Indie Discovery LA series. So we're planning a New York event, probably for March, early stages of planning.
All right. So before we go, is if I were to guess what this movie is trying to do, is trying to relax the viewer and have them find and embrace a fellow creative community, because a creative community can feast that nerve for art to flourish while also feeling like a second family. Is that sort of what you're trying to capture in your film?
Those are good thoughts. At some point, when you have free time, you should write a written review. I liked your written review of there was one that I read last night. What was the most recent one that you
Wonka?
what was it?
Was it Wonka or Poor Things or American Fiction?
American Fiction. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the review. You went into it at length, and it made me more interested in the movie. So yeah, write a written review when you can down the road when you have free time.
Yeah,
So
of course.
you can articulate some of these thoughts in greater detail. The goals for Renee movie was one, have it be a interesting, entertaining story, a good escapist story that people can watch, and second is to push positive ideas like creativity and community that are useful and essential for indie filmmakers to get our work done.
Absolutely. Excellent. So, thank you so much for coming on. We have a link to your film that people can check out. The Vimeo link is there if you want to see Cosmic Disco Detective Rene. Sujewa, where can we find you on social media?
I'll email you all the links, so everyone should check out Only in Theaters by Raphael Sbarge, Cosmic Disco Detective Rene, my movie, and also Bristol Fashion by Pierre Gillette, or Gillette. I got to figure out how to pronounce his last name. And then Amir Matla's movie Three Worlds. I'll send you links to all that. Those are the cosmic. Those are the cosmic. Those are the Indie Discovery LA movies. I'm on Twitter mostly Sujewa Fantastic until I find a Twitter replacement. There's sujewa.com, which is one of my websites. There's uh, nycfantastic.com, one of my websites. But I'll send you all the links, Mike, so you can post them below so people can follow them.
Yeah, I think I'll post those in the comments so that
Awesome.
everyone can see them. All right.
Awesome.
Tajiwa, thank you for coming on. And guys, thank you for watching this. If you like what you saw, go to YPA Reviews. The YPA stands for You'll Probably Agree. Or you can catch up on my material, on my reviews for a lot of the newest films and also some indie films and also some other stuff. What other stuff? Well, it's all movie stuff. No shit. So everyone go check it out. And
And
we'll see you
thanks for the
later.
comments. Thanks for joining us, people. I mean, I usually don't do the live interviews. They're usually recorded, but this is fun.
Yeah.
It's nice
Well,
to have live commenters.
it's fun to actually have an audience come in. I don't know what was going on with Vigil, but I hope
I'm
everything
sure
is
we'll find
okay.
out in the future.
Or not Vigil, Virgil.
Right.
It was that name.
Virgil.
All right. Okay, guys. We'll see you later.
Talk to you soon.